Hey everyone, how's your Saturday morning going? I didn't expect to do a live today, but I'm popping in just I want to talk about triggers because a lot of people will get like triggered by the word trigger, which is amusing to me, but triggers are not anything that you need to be concerned about. Nah, they're completely common. Most of us go through them until you've alchemized a large amount of shadow out of you. You will start to notice that those triggers are not as often, and it's quite possible then a whole new experiences will create new healing opportunities, which is what a trigger is. Trigger is not anything that you need to be scared about. It is a healing opportunity. And that's really all it is. How to notice them? They could be anything, really. They'll be it could be a physical ailment in your body. It could be a tic, like clearing the throat. It could be chewing on your lip, chewing on your fingernails. You could be holding a lot of tension in your shoulders and your neck, having problems with your back. It really could be a number of things, because here's the thing. Our mindset holds energetic vibration. And that energetic vibration is either light energy or it's shadow energy. For those of us that are in our journey right now here on Earth, most of us, those are what the energetic vibrations. And then you might be somewhere in between. Okay? And the somewhere in between is when you've started working through things and you've kind of got a mix going on. And that's where life gets like really super interesting, because that's when you start to realize the difference between the truth and the illusion. And I just cleared my throat there. So there was some stuff going on that I need to look at. So the difference between truth and illusion. So what does that mean? What does that mean? So the brain will lie to you. It will tell you all kinds of stuff that are happening when, from a trigger and down to the root. Now, the root issue is generally something that really is the root of the issue of what's causing it. The trigger is not, it's an illusion. It's an illusion to what the real issue is. And it's digging into that trigger and looking at the stream of thoughts below it to get to the root. And being able to alchemize every single one of those thoughts right down to the root so that you can clear the energy, the toxic energy that is being held within that. And the more you can do that, the more you can actually clear the shadow within you. Now, there's a lot of people in the light world, a lot of light workers that believe that everyone is meant to have shadow. And they call this the Akashic records. And the Akashic records, in my opinion, they are a way to hold what's happened in our life so that we have a way to call back the pieces of our soul and become whole again, whole and complete. And when we do that, we are living our purpose. We are fulfilling the contract that we signed when we came to Earth. It's very spiritual. It's very, it's a strong connection with your inner self. And because everything that has happened to us, as well as generations before us, has been recorded and held so that we could reconnect with our soul. What's replaced those missing pieces of our soul is shadow. It's the toxic energy that we've held within us that's controlling our brain thoughts and sending us down spirals. So, again, I may have some spirals that I need to look at. What I want you to know is that there's nothing to be concerned about. This is all common, very common. Are we meant to live in shadow? No, that's not natural. It's common, but it's not natural. We are meant to be complete, be whole, to live our life the way it was intended to live, to create a life we actually love and not to struggle and live in strife. And so the first step when you're working through things is first of all, recognize that triggers are not anything to be scared about. And you've got this. You do. You have the power to do this. You have survived every struggle and hurt and trauma and pain that you have went through your entire life. Doing this so that you can heal is small in comparison. This is just your next step. It's just your next step. So, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I don't want you to feel worried. I just want you to take one step at a time, one trigger at a time. So, you find yourself wringing your hands. or clenching your jaw, or feeling really tense when something happens. I want you to stop and pause. And I want you to take a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you to actually find a quiet place. That might be hard with kids and dogs and pets and husbands or wives or whatever you have dealing with in your home. But give yourself the space to do this, because you deserve it. So again, take that piece of paper, that pen, and even if you have to lock yourself in the bathroom, in the bathtub, do what you need to do. And I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I want you to tell the brain that you're going to spend a few moments listening to what it needs to say. You already know that those thoughts are illusions. But you will hear your brain out. And then your brain is going to submit to truth. And what I want you to do after that is I want you to, again, take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And this is intentionally to calm yourself down and release any of the fear that you might have about doing this. Release any of the judgment that you may hold, preconceived judgment that you may hold, any expectations of what is going to be thought. And I want you to just release that. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then I want you to take your pen and I want you to start writing down what the trigger, what's the action. So if you were wringing your hands or clenching your jaw, write that at the very top of the page. And then I want you to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then I want you to start writing down every thought that comes to mind. And then when there's nothing else, I want you to say, okay, all of those things, why do they matter? And I want you to start digging in and digging in and digging in and digging in until you feel that strike within you that goes, ooh, that's the one. That's the root. And you'll feel that with just like a nudge inside you. You might even like get chills. But it'll like, ooh, that one hurt. And then what I want you to do is I want you to pull out your light energy mastery map. And I want you to go through each one, each thought, and assign a shadow archetype to it. And if you have trouble doing that, post it. Post a question in this group and ask me. Tag me. Say, this is the thought, and this is where it was, and give me, like, just ask. Just ask. And I'll help you through it. Right? Because once we get to know the archetypes, once we get to know who's talking, who's spouting off the lies, then we're empowered to know how to counteract those thoughts, those lies, those illusions with truth. And then we can alchemize with precision and accuracy. And when you get really good at doing this, the triggers are less and less. Because you're healing. And you'll find yourself being able to pause and actually, notice those triggers. And go, okay, what's behind that? And eventually, once you've alchemized a bunch, you will actually realize the difference between your shadow and someone else's shadow. So when the trigger is a connection between, like an interaction between two people, when the trigger is an interaction between you and another person, it gets interesting because they have their own shadow that they're triggered by, and you have your shadow that you're triggered by. So it's understanding what's their journey and what's yours, and distinguishing the difference between the two. Now, when someone comes at you and you're like, where did that come from? You weren't triggered by it. You may have been like if you got angry then, or upset, then possibly there was a trigger, right? But if they came at you and you're like, oh, what are you talking about? I don't know what's going on with you, but that was weird. They have their own shadow. They're on their own journey. And you don't need to take that on yourself. If you take that on yourself, then you're in your shadow. And we can talk about this more. But in the meantime, what I'd like you to do is look at the resources that I've given you. Post any questions that you have, and ask anything that you need to ask. Because really, truly, honestly, when you do this work, life gets so much easier. So much easier. That's all. I hope you're having a great day. Those of you who are watching this after I've posted it, tag me in a comment, and then I'll see it easier. For some reason, I think I'm going to have to look at my notification settings because I'm not always seeing all of the notifications for some reason. So Facebook is fun. Yeah, so that was all. That's all today. Just keep it up. Keep doing what you need to do. And you'll get there. You'll get there. You'll notice differences in your relationships. You'll notice differences in yourself, in your relationship with yourself, the more work you do. And you're able to actually start loving yourself completely and wholly, just as you are, because you know that you're just on a journey. And you live your life with more grace and acceptance, knowing that you are doing what you can to make a difference in your life. So, blessings to you all. Talk soon.